Okay, I want to call to order the Financial Committee meeting for February the 6th. Roll call, Ms. Jenkins.
Mr. Toller?
Here.
Mr. Anthony?
Here.
Ms. Dominguez? Present. Mr. Duncan?
Here.
All right, first item was 1A, discuss the accounts payable check register for November 16th, 23 to December 15th, 23 in the amount of $21,190,010.42. Mr. McNeely.
I received a question. Am I on? Y'all can hear me fine? I received questions from one of the councilmen and by email and have talked with him and responded. So if there's no further questions, school board member, what did I say? Parish councilman?
We have counselors here
Yeah. That gave it away that it was Tom Toller that asked the question, because he's the only one here that's been, but no.
too. That's right.
Mr. Anthony had some very good questions, and I believe we've responded to those at this time.
Okay, any other questions?
I think he's having flashbacks.
That's right. No public input and no action needed. So on to item B, discuss budget to actual comparison schedule for October 2023. Mr. McNeely.
So this is the standard format you've seen. No changes to the budget at this time. You have the general fund and the capital projects. We are actually closed through November, so at our next meeting, we'll be able to get, I hope to have December for you by the next meeting. And we are looking at changing the format up to where it'll give you a little more information regarding the different departments and potentially schools. So I'm not promising, but we're working in that direction. Hopefully the next time we do this, we may have that information. The business services staff are currently closing out with the auditors, and once they do that, we'll shift to the budget for the revised budget for this year.
Okay. Any questions? No public input, no action needed. On to item C, sales tax.
Sorry, the ledge isn't quite big enough here. Okay, so the sales tax is for December. The sales tax was actually up 7.42%, which was a really strong number. That would translate into November sales. So there's always a lag. So that would be somebody actually purchasing it in the store in November. The company remits it in December, and we report it in January. So I just hot off the presses have January's numbers. For sales tax, it was down slightly, 3.21%. So for the year, we're still up 1% on the regular sales tax. And the half penny, because it's made up a little bit differently, it actually was up 9.2% for December and up 1% for January collection. So the half penny tax continues to do well and is up 2.3% for the year. The last thing I wanted to brief you on is, you remember, do y'all have these? Yes. Okay. We were looking at the half penny fund balance, and we did some changes to the salary schedule where we did a once a year stipend. The stipend was in November, and then the full effect of all of the raises went into effect December. So it did bring the balance down slightly, but we've not set the fund on a diminishing. Okay, right. So the sales tax that's coming in is still supporting the fund with the increases that we made across the board and the specific ones.
So our projections are safe.
So the projections are coming in like, if you can see it on the screen. So based on those projections, we will have the funds to continue this each year. So I was excited to see once the real numbers all got in there, we did meet the projections. Regarding the EFID fund, we are having an increase in the $25 an hour after school. That's all. You're starting to see that in there now too. So once we get January's, we'll have a better idea of how much that's actually hit the fund each month.
Okay. Any questions on item C?
Mr. McNeely, I know we're still waiting on this for the after-school program. When do you project to come back and just reevaluate maybe some further raises or reductions that we can come out of this?
Hold on, Mr. Piazza, hold on. We have to move the mic when we do that because we're not putting anything out.
Here, I'll come sit with you. How about?
If you have a question, let him bring you the mic so we make sure we get the audio right.
Get to sit in the chair with me. After looking at these projections, for those who may watch this meeting later, we now have most of the numbers back. We're still waiting on those after-school projections. When do you think us as administration can come back to the table and look at some further deductions from this fund?
Well, I think it would be part of the normal budget process for next year, along with the salary schedule for next year. So I'll allow, Mr. Duncan, when will we typically bring the salary schedule in the budget? I know the budget's kind of after the year, but the salary schedule, we hope to have that done by May?
I think we do that in May, and then June, we start looking at the next year's.
Okay? Any more questions? Hearing no questions and no public input, we'll go on to item 2A. Consider approval of the recommendations for the bids for grass cutting services. Mr. Valaruda. Always a hot topic every 2 years.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Board. Ms. Stelly. Yes, before us we have the quotes for the grass cutting. After reviewing the quotes and all of the bidders, Nome Landscaping came in as the low bidder, like quite lower than the majority on these. And in the past, in March 9th, 2021, Nome Landscaping bid low like this at that time and could not perform the job and actually resigned and sent an email of backing out, which it caused for our grass, or at that time y'all's grass, to get really out of control, and it was very tough. So with them not performing during that time, and as low as these numbers are, I feel that same thing is going to happen again. And so I don't feel comfortable recommending Nome's Landscaping at this time. But I'll go down each group and talk the low number that I'm recommending, because there was a change after this was sent, and the change wasn't sent to y'all. So
Before we do that, let me ask a question on the gnomes. I know we had a company last time that did a significant amount of our grass cutting. They were from maybe across the line at Slidell over to Pascagoula. Was that the same?
I think that's the same company.
It was a different name then.
It's Gnomes. Because
I just Googled it and it seemed like they're,
I have the email from them. It's the same signer. Effectively, this is from March 9, 2021 at 5 p.m. Effective immediately, Gnomes Landscaping LLC will be withdrawing from its contract over Group 10 and 13 of the Tangipahoa Parish School Board's grass cutting contracts. The keys received for Group 10 will be dropped off at whatever time works best for TPSB Maintenance Office. There were no keys given for Group 13. Gnomes Landscaping LLC is currently experiencing unforeseen financial hardships that are preventing us from taking on projects of this size and may permanently cease our business performance. If there are any release papers that need to be signed over of us officially handing the contracts back over to the board, we will arrange a time to have them signed as soon as possible, respectfully.
yeah, I think that's different than what I'm remembering.
Okay.
And not, I agree with what you're saying. There was another company
Wow.
that got a
Okay.
significant
Same thing.
amount of work, and then they backed out just because they could not complete the jobs. But that
Okay.
was a while back. But anyway,
So
all right, I'm sorry.
because of the way that it's presented in electronic form, I'll just read each group and the low number for the purposes of the TV and for y'all. Okay. Group 1, the Diamond Lawn Care, $950. Group 2, the Diamond Lawn Care at $1,200. Group 3, the Diamond Lawn Care at $1,000. Group 4, the Diamond Lawn Care at $1,100. Group 5, Larry Care at $1,040. Group 6, Mark Colonna, $975. Group 7, the Diamond Lawn Care, $900. Group 8, Family Tradition, $1,395. Group 9, Family Tradition, $695. Group 10, Kiloweed at $1,400. Group 11, Family Tradition, $750. Group 12, Family Tradition at $895. And Group 13, kiloweed at $1,300. Those would be my recommendations to the board.
One question, Terry, on the Group C, if we have two for 1,000, I'm just wondering, like,
Three.
Group 3,
Group
we have...
3,
Yeah, we have two for 1,000, but yet we're giving it to Diamond Lawn Care. Why not Hearts?
That's hard. That's
Yeah,
the one we
that's what I
got,
was gonna ask.
that's what we got the email about.
yeah.
No. Email, we got some gnomes.
No, the other one, the different email with the attorney's opinion.
The attorney's opinion.
I got you. I'm not tracking that.
There's attorney's opinion on that one. I would, no.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
If you want to clarify it,
I
because
don't want to go on, I don't want to talk about it
Yeah.
in the public forum, but
that's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, I was going to ask the same question about Hearts, but one of my other questions was, all right, so I understand not wanting to put all of our eggs to the Gnomes landscaping basket. However, some of these are like half of the cost. Should we give them an opportunity to maybe have one or two groups and see if they perform any better? I mean, it sounded like if there was an issue with staffing, you weren't here at the time either. So I'm just wondering, to save, I'm assuming these are monthly costs as well? I mean, in some cases, you could save $500 a month, $500 a month, $600 a month. So do you think it's worth giving them a shot again?
Or at least for certain projects.
I'm going to make the recommendation that I did, and if the board would like to change that, that's perfectly fine.
Okay,
Okay.
my concern is Hearts, and I understand, I've read some of it on it, but so we're taking the recommendation from the attorneys before we bring it to the board?
I have to take the recommendation of the attorney and the board. I have to take the recommendation of the board, and it was, and the attorney's recommendation was sent to the board of what was found.
Well, but just as we've had other positions in that type situation, and we brought it before the board and we revised the policy, is that not something that we might want to consider?
Go ahead. So, yeah, the situation on Hearts is, it's not a policy as much as a state statute that prohibits us from awarding him the contract, based on the way that I read that attorney's opinion.
Is it okay?
Go ahead, Trey.
I'll double check my.
Terry, any idea, and I should have done my research on this, so I apologize, are any of these people based here in Tangipahoa, to your knowledge?
I didn't make notes of that.
Okay. How soon do we have to have an answer on this?
We have until March when the contracts start, so there's time.
Can we table this for possibly one, and bring it up again 2 weeks from now? Do we have another finance meeting 2 weeks from now?
We can call one, so do I hear that in form of a motion that we table this to the next
I motion-
finance meeting?
Yeah, I motion that we table this until 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so we have a motion to table.
So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, if we table this and put this on the finance for the 20th, can it be adopted on the 20th? Because these contracts need to start March 1st.
Let me see. If the issue again is on whether Mr. Hart can receive a contract from us, the opinion that we received specifically cites Louisiana Revised Statute 38:2227, which prohibits us from awarding a contract to someone who has been convicted of a felony. So it's just not even something that we can do. So, I mean, if that's the holdup, we've all been provided the documentation on that, the attorney's opinion, and I don't know what, if there's some other reason to do the holdup, then we can.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead.
So I'm not on this committee, but the holdup that I would see, if I want to maybe look at maybe giving Gnomes one or two of these contracts that are maybe split in half. So like, good example, I'm looking at Amite High, Amite Elementary, Title I. They're half. I mean, if we give them that one contract to see how they do maybe with Group 3, or I'm looking at another one where they're also half at Tucker, Perrin, Junior High, even if we give them one or two of these deals to see how it works out, we're still saving half of the overall cost. I think we just need to do another deeper dive in the Gnomes
We,
before that time.
well, we could do this. We could be here for the next hour doing substitute motions and trying to figure this out, or if we agree to put it on the next agenda, if we have a motion on another table, if we agree to put it on the next agenda, can we have an understanding that we're going to waive the rules and vote it at the same night so that we can have time to get these contracts in place by March 1?
Yes, I mean, I was,
And that would be more of a question for Mr. Duncan.
I was thinking Group 3 and 4 because they're all they meet, and everybody will walk outside the central office and see whether or not they're performing. So it's pretty simple, right?
So, I mean, what I would say is the information's not going to be any different between now and February the 20th. We can move it out from the Finance Committee tonight with whatever the Finance Committee wants to do. And then if you want to make a motion to change something as a board at the regular board meeting, then we wouldn't have to waive any rules. But I mean, we can move it on to the regular board meeting tonight. And then if certain board members want to give Gnomes another chance, they can make a motion to do something different when we bring it to the full board meeting on February the 20th.
Mr. Chairman, the other thing that regarding this, I would be careful, and you may want to get legal opinion, because typically you either certify somebody as not a qualified bidder, or they are a qualified bidder. If they are a qualified bidder, you need to go with the low bid. If they're not a qualified bidder, I don't know that there's a mechanism to give them one or two of them. Now, the good news is this is kind of a professional services that you're not required by state law to actually go out for bid. But once you go out for bid, you're putting yourself kind of under you have to treat it as a bid. So I'm not sure that you can piece part this. They're either a qualified bidder or they're not a qualified bidder.
Are we bound to low bidder getting the job?
No.
Qualifications of each bidder? What I'm saying is,
It's the lowest responsible bidder. It's typically how you want to do that.
but are
And
we bound to select the lowest okay, you said responsible, that clarifies it.
right.
So, we can go with the low bidder, but if we decide that there's a better qualified bidder,
The
Then we
word is
can-
low responsible bidder, and the state actually has a definition for that. And what Terry's saying is based on their prior time of withdrawing, he's deeming them not to be a responsible bidder because of their past performance.
I mean, I'm ready to go with Terry's, his,
What's the motion on the floor?
We do have a motion to table, but we do not have a second. So if Mr. Anthony wants to rescind that motion to table, no. So do we not have a motion to table?
No second.
Okay, so then let's go ahead and move on.
I'll make the motion to adopt the administration's recommendation.
We have a motion to adopt the administration's recommendations. Do I hear a second?
I'll second, but I would like you to read it again, please.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Group 1, Diamond Lawn Care, $950. Group 2, Diamond Lawn Care at $1,200. Group 3, Diamond Lawn Care at $1,000. Group 4, Diamond Lawn Care at $1,100. Group 5, Larry Care at $1,040. Group 6, Mark Colonna, $975. Group 7, Diamond Lawn Care at $900. Group 8, Family Tradition, $1,395. Group 9, Family Tradition, $695. Group 10, Killerweed, $1,400. Group 11, Family Tradition, $750. Group 12, Family Tradition, $895. And Group 13, kiloweed at $1,300.
One question, Mr. Valaruda. How does this relate to what we paid on the last contract? Are we going up, down, staying the same?
It's slightly a little higher.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, one more. So, Brett, you mentioned that if we, when this goes to the board on the 20th, we can still
You can still do
possibly
it.
make changes to it at that time?
We can.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, you would just pull out part, make a motion for that. So, any other questions? Hearing no questions, I call for vote.
Voting is open.
Yes.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, anything else to be brought before finance tonight? No public input. Hearing nothing being brought up, meeting is adjourned.